We are live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome
We'll try
to
to relax.
Sharing the Caring City. I'm Claire.
I'm Millie.
And we're on T-Radio. And just a big thank you again to our hosts here for having us. And it looks like the stream is updating, so maybe.
It is okay?
I don't know. Interesting. Well, I think we're gonna keep going, and hopefully this will work. Maybe it's just an issue on my computer.
Yeah. There it is, the
Perfect.
the image.
All right, great.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And today we wanted to build upon some of what we talked about last week, and really exploring this idea of how care is something that we need, and we give and we receive at all points in our life. It's not something that's not just something that we give or we receive at certain stages in our life. And today we kind of want to add another layer to that, and that's the idea of how do emotions like care or enjoyment or fun, how do they fit into this concept of the caring city? And especially we want to kind of be drawing on or thinking about how also do these ideas, how are they playing out in the context of the pandemic that we're all in the midst of, and especially in the context of COVID, how important it is to be finding and also creating spaces where we can have fun and we can enjoy and we can play. So we're going to be doing a little bit of playing today. We're going to have a couple of different guests, and Millie's created a game for us. So please play along with us. Mm-hmm. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Millie, who's going to talk a little bit about the connection between public art and activation and the concept of the caring city.
Yeah, well, hello, Claire. I'm very happy about being here because it is something like finding this connection about activating the public space and care is something that is very entangled with my personal interests and also with my research. So this week I have been thinking a lot upon these topics, and I read an article of the art curator that is Elke Krasny, and for me it was really nice because she starts this article with a question. Like, I think she asked like, what is feminism, and then there is no answer. Mm-hmm. And for me, like, maybe this type of activation or putting these interventions in the public space is kind of open like these things in our daily experience, in the going through the city. So it's like try to break the space or the given city as a closed structure and to start hacking and creating new possibilities. And activating could be a methodology to arrive and also play and also creative practices.
Yeah, that's so cool. It was something we were talking about right before the show, is about how I mean, I come from planning. Millie comes from architecture, and which are very disciplines that have a very strong sense of vision of what cities should look like and how people should behave. And it's been really just fun getting to talk with you about how creating spaces of play is allowing us to break out of some of those dogmatic ways of thinking about what should happen in spaces, and kind of really getting rid of this idea of should, and transitioning to focus on kind of questions of could.
And what she makes in like putting this question in text, like she's introducing us as readers in a little crisis, and like that crisis, it can be bring but something that is like different in your daily experience that is happening, and you're doing something in the public space.
I know, Millie, you are doing research on public art, and do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. I mean, and that is why it is related with my personal research, like this type of practices, because I am studying the use of public art as a as a tool for urban regeneration, and which is the impact, because in general they are like short term and not very like there is nothing remaining in the physical space, in the physical spectrum, but they're like what happens with that happened in a way, and what remains like in the artists, what remains in the local communities, what remains in the institutional structures. um, I am studying a specific program that was developed in Madrid, where they choose 9 public spaces in the periphery of Madrid, and they made an open call for artists and architects and like this hybridization of new agents in the cultural production to make a project to be activating and those spaces for 1 year. Um, so yeah, and you have like many different type of project in terms of like using music, using performance, ephemeral architecture, um, and the name also is very like linked with this idea that we are bringing today of like playing, because imagination is kind of, it has like a playful character, like you need space and time to go beyond and to break some limits and imagine. So I think, yeah, it's very interesting,
Cool.
the project.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. And maybe I was just, if you could, I don't know, tell us a little bit more. Again, we were talking before the show about how you see the connection between this idea of activation and the question of feminism.
Yeah, that is something I'm like
In
trying.
2 minutes.
Yeah, in 2 minutes. Okay, I think one like one issue it is the participatory character and like these discourses of collaboration that the program has, because in a way feminism, like something intrinsical to feminism, is very critical with patriarchal and capitalistic logic, and it sees power dynamics and hierarchies, and like bringing these platforms that are more horizontal and more and then open another type of game in which there are like different possibilities for everyone to create something there. It is kind of like it goes with these feminist and care values. And on the other side, this idea of imagination, like of bringing the difference, the possibility, other possibilities, and that is like breaking the normalization, breaking universalizations, and breaking like mainstream discourses that are like fixed and that don't let us create new ways of appropriating, new ways to live our cities differently. So I think those two are like the main items in which like how Imagina Madrid can be related, or this practice can be related with feminism. I made it in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
keep talking, eh?
I think we're going to go to our first song, and then we're gonna bring in our first guest after the song.
But I'm very happy.
So I'll introduce the song, and then Millie, you can introduce our guest.
Okay.
So just as a reminder, we said this last week, but one of the members of Urban Femina, Sara, is curating a radio program on the last Tuesday of every month, and I'll put a link into the chat as soon as I get back connected to it. Featuring all female artists. And so she has been selecting 4 to 5 songs for each of our shows to play. And so the first song that we're going to play is Super Sad Generation by Arlo Parks. And Sada selected this text because she says it may have a rather pessimistic tone, but it particularly resonates with our situation today. She finds that it is also a positive song which encourages us to get out of this sadness through our imagination and creativity. Everything remains to be invented in the future we want to build. So with that, here we go.
Okay, now now I'm very excited with what is going to happen, because I'm going to speak with Caro Huffman, that is the founder and partner of Urbanismo Vivo, that is a collective that, well, Caro now will explain it, but they have like a long trajectory doing activations on public space. So we want to know more about her experience And first, Caro, I'm very grateful that you are here now. It's very early in the morning in Buenos Aires, and she's there with her coffee. So thank you and hello. And we will do this in English. That will be difficult, but we can do it. So hello, Caro. How are you?
Hi, Millie. How are you? Very happy to see you. Very happy to be with you so close on a Sunday morning, speaking in English as we used to in Buenos Aires every time. Every Sunday morning for us. Millie and I are associates in Urbanismo Vivo. Just Millie is in another time zone right now, but we are associates. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, Carito, and do you want to tell us a little bit more about Urbanismo Vivo and what do you do?
Mismo Vivo, yes, it's a group, it's a team in Buenos Aires of associates that we work in urban subjects in public space, connecting the spaces or connecting neighborhoods with the people and connecting the people with the neighborhoods, trying to work with both spheres at the same time in order to make a more inclusive and more active city through the people.
Nice, nice. And my question is, how do you connect with feminism? Like what you are doing? I know there are like some projects specifically connected with feminism or with like the idea of a feminist city. But if you can like expand a little bit of what you are doing or how you connect your daily work.
To begin with, we are a team of um, four women and one man, and he's quite very deconstructed, and the rest of us are very strong feminists. So we approach our methodologies and our participation schemes and our creation process in a very horizontal and in a very inclusive way. We take very, very conscious about the whole participatory process and including most of the voices present. So that is like our core main way to approach every process, every participatory process. And what Millie was saying, that we have different projects that are focused on feminism. We are in a collective that it's called La Ciudad que Resiste, that it's a take feminism as a pillar. So we have a project, a very nice project, that it's trying to collectively answer what is a feminist city. What is so, because we understand that that answer means that we have to plurally understand it, and there's no right answer, there's no one definition, but multiple, but trying to understand what is like the whole general understanding and general definition to what people understand what is a feminist city. And we have workshops of feminism, and we're yeah.
This week, preparing the program with Claire, was on this idea of like this new context of social life or public life of like after COVID and the pandemic we are crossing through. So in that sense, like how do you see that this situation have shed light to something we need to take care more?
I think I think that I think the main thing you have just said is shed a light, because I think the problems that we see today as as things that we cannot not see again, are problems that have been happening before the pandemic and before the COVID, long time before. And they have been a construction of our societies for a long, long time. The thing is, after this COVID and after this pandemic, I think we have learned two things. First of all, I think many of our problems have expanded their problematic and their impossibility of not seeing of or not acknowledging that this is happening and that this is very serious things happening in our cities and in our social spheres. And on the other hand, and I think this is very, very powerful, we have stopped our cities, we have stopped the world practically because of a virus. This has never been seen before. That one thing, that one little thing, name it what you want, one little thing was able to stop the world. So it's all about a political decision. It's all about wanting to make that call and wanting to stop that problem from the core. So I think that we're able to see this response of the world and of our cities and of ourselves as citizens, having stopped staying in our houses to take care of us and of the different people, then the caring, just name the virus, name it gender violence, name it climate change, name it whatever you want. We have to take care. We can, as a global community, as a political resources, a decision, like calls have been made. So I think we have to learn about this in a general way, because this situation was handled this way. What things can we handle in different ways? But we have to handle.
Caro, one question that we were doing like during this week, it is, how did you have fun during quarantine? And when I was thinking on that question and I thought about like you, I thought immediately about like ciudades comunes, and how that appear. Like I don't know, it is so interesting that in a moment in which everything is stopped, like you really found a way to move things and to create connections and to create exchange, having social distance, but still. I don't know if you want like to talk a little bit about the project, or how was your experience during quarantine and to encourage these ciudades comunes.
Ciudades Comunes was a project that was a need. At the beginning, it was a need to make the questions that were needed to be made in a moment where we only had questions and we didn't have answers.
Caro, also for people to acknowledge, in Buenos Aires we had a 6-month quarantine, so like extreme quarantine. So maybe because
they put the quarantine on, and we weren't able to get out of our houses for nothing that wasn't to go to the supermarket and caring and taking care of other people. That was it. And doctors, obviously. Those were like only persons that could be out on the streets. And this was that extreme was for 4 months, I think, 5 months. Extreme like that. After 4 or 5 months, they started letting us out like to parks, like walking around. Now we can. Now bars are open after 7, 8 months. How many months we're been? 7 months now, 8. And now the bars are open in the streets and nothing inside. It's been very extreme for Buenos Aires and very long. online congress, and after that we started working, and in collaboration with BID, we did an open call for ideas to come back to the city, to come back to the streets, and go back to the streets. The translation, and for Latin America, and it's incredible. Despite we had a lot of projects summit, we had 6 winners, and we did an incubator that is like up with this project, and contact with people, that has been great. But to get to know people, like interact, work together, collaborate, and that way was incredible. And the thing is, we because it was a way to channel all these professional questions and all this professional uncertainty into a way of asking questions, and get, I don't know, like rambling answers, maybe some answers, maybe not, maybe some possibility of others, uh, and raising more questions, and raising more visibility problems that have been around. Um, and for me, that is great. And to be able to do that with friends, that was the part. It was fun, but it was great to channel through that. Yeah.
And Kari, another question that I make to myself, and like during these times, it is like in this, I don't know, in this practice that maybe we had of like going outside and doing things, and like using the public space as a way to like contest and to bring people and to create things. How do we encourage activation now where there is like no public in a way, or how that challenge like the way we face this idea of like going out to the street and activate if there is no people?
The public spaces for them, and for the families, and for young people, for the gathering. I think the we have a lot of public space that has been designed and used in a way to transport and to circulate, and not to gather. And now we are seeing in the public space, at least in Buenos Aires, and I know in a lot of parts of the world, that
Starting being used.
Woo! Whoa!
Score.
Starting being used for commercial purposes, and the bars are going out on the streets and using the public space for their own economic purpose. And I think it's really needed because bars have been closed for so long and restaurants have been closed for so long. That is a way of occupying the street instead of a car. But my question is, can a family occupy the street? Can kids occupy the street? Can young people, the teenagers, us teenagers, can we occupy the streets in a way, in a public way, in a social way, in a playful way, not neither circulating, neither economical, but in a more social way. So I think that is like what my spirit of activation is approaching the occupying the streets in order to play, to interact, to
Yeah, and very nice, Caro, because that is like completely related with what we were talking with like feminist values, like to bring other way of connecting that is not economically or productive or commercial driven, and creating space and time and in the experience of the city to share, to gather, to create ways of and space for people to be visualized also, and to play. No? And I have the timekeeper here that she is like watching at me like this.
like a hawk.
So there is something else you want to share or to tell us? You can stay there. And you can also play with us.
I play.
Okay.
I will play. I will stay. I will do everything until you kick me out.
Okay. Perfect. We like. Okay, we need to play. I don't know how to use this machine, Claire.
Thank you so much. It was really, really wonderful to listen to your conversation.
Yeah.
I think we are going to go to music. Do you want to introduce the music?
Yeah, I can introduce the music. I'm very happy with this music. I'm very happy in general today because we have a song. The second song is a little thought for Millie and for Caro, and I think also for Gabi and Paula, because the name of the song is Buenos Aires, who is participating in this show today. It's a song by Nati Peluso, an Argentinian artist from Buenos Aires, who will maybe make Millie feel at home for a song. Let's listen to Buenos Aires from Nati Peluso. Hi, Sarita, Sarita.
All right. How do I find? Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. And next, we're going to have a slightly more interactive part of our show today. And Millie has created a game for us to play. And I just put some instructions into the chat. But before we do that, we're going to present our the two additional faces that you see joining us in the studio. Millie, do you want to do that?
Sure. I mean, we are now with Paula Gonzalez y Gabriela Unice, that are two wonderful women that we met here in our experience in Copenhagen. Like we think, like I think it's one of like how we work with Urban Femina. We like to every city we go to make connections and to find like people with who that are active and that are interested in feminism and to do something together. So I found them and I'm very happy to have met them. And now you will meet them and we will play a little game because we met and we are like with all this energy to do something here and in November maybe. And the other day we had a very nice conversation and discussion about like this idea of play and activating and care and all these topics that are being entangled during this day. So we made a little game that now Claire will introduce, and we will play, and we will have like conversations about. I'm destroying.
So Millie has created 5 different
Colors.
planks of wood with colored ribbons, and on the back of each is a question. So if someone wants to just quickly chat at us a color, red, green, blue, yellow, white, and then we will use this question to start our conversation. So anyone who wants to...
Yellow.
Yellow. There is Caro. Okay.
Yellow? Do you want to read it?
Also.
So first the yellow. How do you play with the city?
I think
In
if
your
you
daily...
come a little bit closer to the microphone.
Sorry. First time. How do you play with the city in your daily experiences?
So we'll talk about this, but also feel free to share your experiences or your perspectives with us in the chat, or if you want to join us quickly, you're welcome to. We've got another person in the studio with us. And so engage in this conversation with us, please.
Okay, how did you play with? How did you play with the city?
I think that every time that I'm going out of my house, I'm trying like to play with the city, and the way that I play with the city is using the public spaces and the city in a different way as they are like meant to be used. Because I think that is boring, like just to use the things as the things has been given to us. So it's good like to appropriate those spaces. I think that is part of like playing with the city, and for me that is the playful way to experience a city.
Could you maybe give us a couple of examples of like what that looks like on your daily?
Yeah, of course. Some things maybe are not so good, but here in Copenhagen we cycle a lot. So maybe sometimes it's just like to go a little bit like out from what is like my what is like the shortest road that I have to do, like from my house to my work, for example. Like just take more time or not take the bike, just go for a stroll, like walk in a park, maybe use like a playground that is meant for kids, but just use it. And I think that that's a wonderful thing that Copenhagen has, that there are like a lot of like spaces like the red square or like the black square where the way as the playgrounds has been built, they has the size not only for kids. I think that they are also meant to be used by adults, but we don't dare to use them.
The red square and the black square, you meant.
Need to get closer to the microphone.
Sorry.
Enough.
The Enough, the Super Killen
Yes.
Park. Okay.
This is a good example
Oh.
of playful like spaces that are for kids and also for
For
adults.
other publics.
Yeah.
I think you come a little bit closer. Sorry. I want to make sure you can hear them. Do you want to say that again, Paula?
No, okay, I think Norrbrohalden is is an example of a place that also the adults and the kids can play together.
There are different publics. And I think it's very interesting and what you said in this sense of like going out, and maybe it is a small decision like of how you encourage, like how you face like the city. And that is like, for example, this small change of like taking another like way of transport or moving differently. Or another path.
Road.
Exactly. That gives you like new things.
Another question.
Another question.
Another
Okay.
color.
Or
Sorry.
another color.
Caro, do you want to say anything?
I was thinking. I use the city imagining different. I go listening to music a lot, so I imagine like different video, like music videos. Like when they tone to the music, I tend to follow people that tone to the music. A stalker, but it's fun.
That's
It's
so
fun.
great.
Yeah. A stalker also thing that I like to play is to watch the windows that are in the zero in the ground to watch
Yeah,
like
I
the
love it.
interior.
No, but also here because people doesn't like it. They don't use curtains, so you can see what everything that is happening inside, and
That is
that's
so
very
weird.
That is fun.
Those are a lot of music videos.
True.
Okay, another question.
Just before we move to another question, Belu chatted at us that Jamie says he likes to jump between objects, pseudo parkour. So that's another way of, making use of the public space in slightly unconventional ways. So keep it up.
Another color?
Venus says the red.
Belu put the red.
So the question is, when was the last time you played and what was the game? Anyone?
I played dice yesterday.
Who were you
Dice?
playing with?
A friend.
Okay.
5,000? 10,000?
Great. Great game.
In Danish, Yahtzee.
Escoba del 15.
Yeah.
It's a cards game.
I find it really interesting how this is something that Millie and I were talking about preparing for the show, how like when we think about activities that have the word play associated for kids, it's like playground or you go and you're playing, it's like a very physical thing, whereas and also oftentimes, you play make believe or you play dress up. Whereas as an adult, a lot of the things that are associated with play for me are much more, I play a board game or I play
Scrabble.
Yeah. Play basketball.
Yeah.
And it's something where like I feel like play becomes much more
Boring.
Yeah, just like much more. I mean, maybe that's putting a very fine point on it, but just much more constrained. I
And
don't
with
know.
much more rules. The rules. With the adults, we play with rules, and we play all these traditional or conventional games that have like explicit rules. And you see kids, and they go inventing rules on their way because there's a playground. There's a ground where you have to play whatever you want. I want that.
Well, actually, it happens to me that last time I played, it was like last week I went to the swimming pool and I was with one of my friends, and then she says like, let's go to the trampoline. I said like, yeah, but it's full of kids. Come on, let's go. Let's jump for the 3 meters, then for the 5 meters. Okay, I said like, well, okay, let's go. But then I felt a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning because there were like all kids surrounding me. But then I went to the highest one and I found this girl, this little Danish girl, that she was about to jump, and I asked her like, hey, but is this dangerous? No, look at me. So she jumped and then I jumped after her, and I felt so good and I felt so free. And it's like, I think that as adults, like it's us the ones that put restrictions about playing as if we were kids, because it's so much fun, and kids they really don't care if you're an adult or not. You can just play with them, it's fine. Like you can also invent rules and play with them. So I don't know, I think that we feel ashamed of like, I don't know, that kind of freedom.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh.
Totally.
But actually that playing then enact like a conversation with one of the guys that it was like I don't know, working in the swimming pool. How you always come here, that's so nice. Yes, that trampoline is very good. And that is something that sometimes here it never happened, but because like we there like to do something that it was a little bit out of the rules, as you mentioned, like I don't know, we had a lot of fun, and we also I don't know, start like some kind of social conversation with a stranger, which was also nice.
It's another form of play, I think.
Yeah, and this idea of no, I think it's very interesting all what you said that can be traduced in like how the city is planned at the end, because then we experience the city and the places that are like for playing are not meant for be for adults and have like this restriction of okay, here like kids play, but you as an adult there are not, or it is in these places where are private, like okay, you can go to play bowling somewhere, you know, but the city in general terms it has that clear division in which like play is for kids
outside.
yeah, exactly.
Although it's interesting if you look at the history of the development of playgrounds and public parks, and there was like a moment of enlightenment that kids of different ages need different kinds of facilities. And so it kind of, I feel like it goes both ways in that on the one hand, you know, there's infrastructure that is designed for, you know, 3-year-olds and 7-year-olds and 11-year-olds and 15-year-olds. So there's in some ways a need for differentiation, but then I feel like then there's an end point where we stop thinking about who needs, I don't know, who needs infrastructure. And granted, I think we can play very well without infrastructure as well. So it's not necessarily that we need more infrastructure to facilitate play, but that we need, as you were saying, kind of to let go of those barriers.
Yeah, but I think that you let go those barriers when you are in a place that it feels safe. So if you are in a place where you feel safe, you allow yourself to play because you are not feeling judged. As when you start playing or when you want to play in a play where you have like a lot of people looking at you and you feel judged, then you stop doing those things. And I think that creating these caring cities is also to create like a place where you can feel safe of doing things that is gonna make you feel happy, without
Judging.
without any kind of judgment behind.
Yeah,
The other
totally.
day,
Yeah, Caro.
no, I was the other day. I read a meme, and I think it goes very well with all this. Asked me how fast I could run in my new shoes today. Being an adult is stupid. It's fucking stupid.
Wait, again, can you repeat it?
You need to talk into the.
Sorry. Can you repeat it?
Not a single person asked me how fast I could run in my new shoes today. Adulthood is stupid. And it's that when we're kids, we well, when we're kids, they ask us, and how fast do they go? And when we see somebody running the bus, we say like, do you really have to run? Like for real? And we should be able to do more spontaneous and ridiculous things without judging, because then we see ourselves judged, and it's because we are judging. Like everybody's judging if you're judging.
Yeah, and sorry. No? And I was going to connect it with what you said about the trampoline and like the fear to go and to jump and like all that process that maybe is like super stupid. It is like going to a trampoline and jump, but all the process that you went through internal, like your internal process of like fear or insecurity or feel, so like how this like judgment at the end also ends altering our perception of the city or the public space, and we like restrict ourselves without even like maybe knowing, because other person, maybe you like have a little more, you have a little more of courage to break that thing of okay, I feel uncomfortable but I will go through because it's fun. Because I want to jump.
Yeah, then when you jump, you find how fun is it. But I think that is also like, I don't know, when you became an adult, you follow like I don't know, like some kind of perfection in all the things that you are doing. So if you jump, you need to jump like perfectly. No, it's like it doesn't matter. It's as you said, Caro. It's a little bit like if we stop judging, there's also like no way that other ones will judge us. And if someone judged me, I won't care.
And I think it's about like erasing, for me, erasing the fact that like adults, what is an adult? We are only like big people or larger. We are other sides of people, because we have so much fun playing. And we have so much fun feeling free. Because I think it's the free part that it's the fun part. And when the kids go to the playground, they go running because they are free of having to be sitting in a table learning, and then they go to the playground and it's like and it's that freedom, that sense of freedom. What would happen if at 6 o'clock when we get out of our work, we all the offices go out running to the streets like, oh my god.
Oh, I love it.
So, okay, maybe chaos, maybe, but maybe it would be a little bit more fun and a little bit more sane than being it's more it's the liberty that we are finding so appealing in the playfulness and in the jokes and in the having laughs. It's because we can't all the time, and then we have to restrict ourselves. But
I love this image so much. I can't believe it, but it's already 3:56. So,
What?
Milit, maybe do you want to say in like 1 minute the idea for the activation, and then we'll need to close it up.
Yeah, of course. And well, we invited to Paula and Gabby today because we are planning to do something to activate with all these ideas. It is not something that is as a closed space. It's more to create a space of encounter because of all the things that we have been talking today. To create this space, to have this conversation, and to foster other ways to think about the city and about future possibilities that can contribute to a more caring paradigm. And now I can put my radio voice. No, yeah, that's it. But please, one thing that is very important is that we don't have the place yet. So if you have ideas or people that you think they could have ideas, please put in contact with us. If you are also interested in knowing a little bit more about this activation and idea, and feel free to come closer and to connect with us. And thank you, Caro, so much for being there. Thank you, Gabi and Paula, so much to share this space. And thank you, Claire, for being such an amazing colleague.
Oh, this is
All crying.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. So we're going to close it out today with a song from, do you know how to say it?
Boni Banane.
Boni Banane, who is a French artist with immense talent, says Sara. And this song is called The Limits, and it's about consent. Some of the text reads, "It's not against you, but when it's no, it's no." And Sara, who selected this song, finds that art and creativity are really powerful in conveying important messages such as consent, as discussed in this song. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And yeah, come back next Sunday, and we'll have another conversation about the Caring City. Hopefully it'll be as much fun and laughing as we had today.